What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown. I am excited. We are in the final week of the season. Hoop came on yesterday, gave us a couple winners, so we started off the week in the right way. And we have the dream team here today, Travis Mangone and JSU. And Travis, we have quite the slate, so if JSU and I start arguing about potential playoff matchups, just go ahead and move us along here because I think we're going to be in for a doozy anyways. JSU, how you doing today?
Yeah, I mean, no promises. I can't promise that we won't fight on this show about playoffs and teams and whatever else, but it should be a fun show. Got a ton of games and nothing better. We're getting to the end of the NBA season. That's when playoffs come, and I love the NBA playoffs.
And in JSU, you're going to love this. So I stayed up a while last night working on basically what I thought all the standings would be. I did the rest of the schedule, wins and losses. And I think we're going to get the series that we want here in the first round. That's the Bucks and the Heat. So I cannot wait, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Travis, how's NBA been treating you, and what are you looking forward to this week?
We're talking about playoffs. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like, this is where listen, I like to watch basketball, but like, I definitely am okay to not watch like some regular season games. Like, I'll watch like the play-by-play on my monitor on the side and do something else. Like,
Wait, Mangone, you mean I can't interest you in a little OKC Sacramento Kings action tonight?
No.
10 p.m. Here we go, baby.
On a Tuesday night. I mean, listen, I'll know what's going on, JC. It'll be on my monitor, right? But I'll probably be playing some Call of Duty or like playing some PGA golf, something. I don't know. I'll be doing something else while it's going on. I won't be fully tuned in, locked in, finding out what's going on with Terrence Davis and DeLon Wright and watching that game. So I will not be completely locked in, but I do love playoffs. Playoff basketball is amazing. It's one of the best watches in my opinion. I cannot wait for it to come. I'm excited. But I do love this week of NBA DFS. It is a little crazy. It can get frustrating. I saw some people in the chat getting annoyed because I forget who it was the other day. Someone DNP'd, right? And they were very frustrated. And I had the other night, I actually didn't want to play him. I just kind of had to. It just kind of happened. You fell on him, and the Nuggets were out of bodies. They didn't have Aaron Gordon. And I assumed, hey, I have 3,800. Paul Millsap's the best guy I can play. I didn't even want to play him, but I was like, he's the best guy. And then he DNP'd out of nowhere. And like, that stuff just happens, right? Like, at this time of year, you want to just do the best you can to follow all the news, put yourself in the best situation possible, and then not get hurt by that. Now, maybe you don't roster some older dudes. Maybe that was a mistake I made in that spot. I don't think it was, but it's one of those times where don't get mad if something crazy happens today. Just keep grinding away and plugging away over this next week. It's a tough week, but I think in the end, if you do your research and you grind out the news, I really think you're very profitable.
Yeah, I was joking with Hoop yesterday. This week in the NBA, doing content is just trying to find different ways to say, tread lightly. You don't need to bet every game. It's okay to lay off because I think there's a lot of spots where the line is tight or the injury news is just so volatile. It's really hard to get in pregame, and especially as early as we do. But like we do, we're going to go ahead and make our best shot at it. So let's dive right in. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 21-47, but playing better as of late. Of all these terrible teams, I like the way the Timberwolves are playing against the team Detroit Pistons, who just loves to cover the spread. 20-49, 34-31 against the spread. They seem to be playing tough. Unfortunately, they like to hockey line their whole injury report. So today, no Corey Joseph, no Wayne Ellington, no Jeremy Grant, no Hamidou Diallo, no Rodney Magruder. The two Jacksons, Frank and Josh, are questionable. Plumlee's out. And on the Minnesota side, Malik Beasley, he's been out forever. Hernan Gomez questionable, and Jaden McDaniels is in. We'll start with you, Travis. A line of 7.5. I like Detroit to keep it close, but like I said earlier, no reason to get involved or force it. So I didn't actually make it a play. What do you think?
Yeah, so did you say you like Detroit here in this spot?
I mean, if I were to make a play, like I did throw together one $20 parlay to win 29 grand where I picked every game, and I picked Detroit in this one, but that's probably the only money that I'll be putting on it.
All right, well, Spread, we disagree to start off the show.
Let's hear it. I love it.
I'm on the Timberwolves side. I like what the Timberwolves are doing. They're actually playing to win too as well. On the opposite side, you don't know what the Pistons are doing, right? Like they have look at the roster, right? You're going to tell me, Spread. I know it's 7.5, right? It's a pretty big line, but D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and this Anthony Edwards is not the same Anthony Edwards, right? If you look at his post All-Star break numbers, he has been incredible. I mean, you just watch basketball, like he is just so he's got it, right? If he puts it all together and puts a complete game together, he is going to be a machine. So I've been loving watching him. Cat too, he has been phenomenal. Like this is just going to be a disaster, I think, for the Pistons. I really think that the Timberwolves win by double digits. I mean, you saw they did the Magic the other day, and the Magic were a team that they're just really banged up too, really similar to what the Pistons are. Now, the Pistons are better than the Magic right now, but I really do think that this Pistons team is going to struggle here in this spot. And this version of D'Angelo Russell, he is starting now. He's not playing those 24 minutes off the bench. They have a really good coach in Finch. They feel very similar right now, this Timberwolves team, and it's not the same comparison. They're not going to do what the Suns are doing this year. They feel like the Suns, though, last year with the bubble, where they were trying hard. They were going out there. And everyone's like, why are the Suns even here? And that's what everyone's probably saying with the Timberwolves. Why are the Timberwolves even trying? Well, they want to get right for next year, right? They want to make sure that they're still, they look good and they feel confident in themselves. And that went a long way last year for the Suns. And maybe this will go a long way for the Timberwolves next year. Now, I'm not saying the Timberwolves will out of nowhere become a 1 seed, but I do think that this is going to help that team, and I do feel really good about the new coach that they have there. I feel really good about Edwards and D'Lo and Cat. Their defense isn't the best, but I think that they're growing and getting a lot better, and they're trying, and I love the Timberwolves in this spot, and I like them in DFS as well. I think in DFS, Anthony Edwards, look at his minutes, right? Now, the other day, it wasn't the best because that game really blew out, right? They were up by like 40. He got 28 minutes. He got 40 fantasy points. He still ended up getting there. D'Angelo Russell, I really like this spot for him. If you're going to tell me he's going to get between 29 and like 36 minutes right now, that's huge, especially in this spot against the Pistons. I expect him to crush them. It's a 228 total. Again, really nice and secure minutes and a great producer, right? Like Russell is a guy that can produce fantasy point per minute so quick. He can go to 2 fantasy points per minute in those 30 minutes and get you to 60. I mean, he has that opportunity to do that at 8K. And I'm looking for guys right now that are like trying, right? And actually like going out there and doing stuff. Like Giannis is a great example. The other day, I didn't want to play Giannis because I was like, I'm worried about Giannis, right? I'm worried that the Bucks are just worrying about the postseason and worrying about health. And again, it didn't seem like they were really trying out there as much. Same with the Big T said it the other day with the Jazz, the Suns. I want these guys that are trying. And the Timberwolves, I know they're going out there and they're trying. I know that they're actually out there getting their minutes no matter what. Even D-Russ, when it was a 40-point game, he was in there in the fourth quarter, running pick and roll and still playing when D-Russ probably shouldn't have. So I'm in on the Timberwolves for DFS. I think that they're good last pieces in, like if you just have spend-up options because we have so much value on the slate. I don't mind plugging in a D-Russ or an Anthony Edwards. I think it's fine because their minutes are safe. And then the 7.5, I like it a lot because we see some of these really bad teams getting blown out, and I think the Pistons are one of those.
All right, JSU. I'm backing a roster with starting Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Doumbia, I don't know his first name, and Frank Jackson. What do you think of that move? Am I crazy?
Well, Sekou Doumbia, but yeah,
Sekou?
you're
Okay.
Sekou. Yeah,
That's a cool name. I like it.
Yeah, it's a cool name. And then Frank Jackson, is he actually available or is he still questionable?
He's still questionable. I was just going off the lineup from last game.
I think one of the 2 Jacksons ends up playing. I think that's why they're questionable. I don't think Josh Jackson would even be questionable if it wasn't for Frank Jackson getting hurt in that last game. Okay. So he's questionable. I think they need one of those bodies to play pretty much. But yeah, I'm kind of in lockstep with Mangone here. Minnesota,
all right, I love it.
They're trying right now. These guys, even Ricky Rubio, who I don't understand, 3 games ago, he got 17 minutes, but the rest of the games, he's been playing in the 30s in minutes. The only reason why he didn't get in the 30s last game was because of the score and the fact that they were just blowing this team out. He got 26 minutes. That just kind of tells me they're playing Ricky Rubio 26 to 30 minutes. They're playing Russ and Cat and Anthony Edwards all in the 30s if it's a close game. They're trying to win games. I mean, I don't know. I think these guys are playing well right now, and Detroit is not a team I'm looking to back here. They are not trying to win at all. They're resting, half their squad, or they're out, out because of injury, one or the other. But, Plumlee and Grant, they're resting them. They could probably play. They're not hurt. They're resting. They don't want to win. So I'm going to take the team that's actually playing to win, even though the team isn't that great of a team, they're way better than the Pistons right now.
Yeah, and let's give credit to the Phoenix Suns for what they did last year by going 8-0, adding a veteran, and now being in contention. Maybe setting the blueprint for some of these teams not to tank, to run, make a nice run towards the end of the year, take some momentum in the offseason, and make yourself a more attractive destination for free agents. It looks like that's what Minnesota's trying to do. I like Detroit to keep it close, but our two esteemed panel members like the Timberwolves to blow them out. Let's talk about another game where my guess is you guys are going to like the road favorite. And I'm not really sure here. I probably am going to agree with you here. The Denver Nuggets are 44-24, 32-36 against the spread, heading to Charlotte to take on the Hornets, who are 33-35, 34-33 against the spread. And, the Hornets will still be missing our guy Gordon Hayward. No Cody Martin, no Miles Bridges. Devontae Graham is questionable on the Denver side. Will Barton's out. Gordon's probable. And Monte Morris is questionable. Another one where I like Denver, but I don't think I'm going to get involved in here. This 5.5 point line seems about right, and I could see them winning close. The great argument you can make, of course, for Denver is that no one's going to be able to stop Jokic. I mean, they get clowned by average centers. So what's Jokic going to do to these guys? Zeller and Biyombo just can't get it done. Almost like a Boston Celtics situation where their obvious deficiency is there in the middle. Maybe a Jokic point, rebound, assist over. I think he's going to go crazy with rebounds. But I guess I lean Denver. I didn't make a play, man. Go on. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, great spot for someone like Jokic and DFS for sure. But if we're talking about betting wise, I mean, I would lean Denver, I think, in this spot. Again, they're still playing pretty well. I believe they'll have Aaron Gordon back for this game. And listen, I mean, Aaron Gordon, is he going to be on LaMelo? I know he can go on a bunch of different players. Will they stick him on LaMelo in this game? Because if so, that's going to be a really tough task. Wouldn't you agree, Spread?
Yeah, I wonder if they will.
I don't know if they will for certain. I know because Campazzo, obviously you don't want him out there. They might do Rivers, actually. That's what they'll do. They'll probably put Rivers on him, and then they'll probably put Gordon on one of the secondary guys on the wing to then help down low at times. So I do think they're going to give him a bit of trouble, this Hornets team. So I would lean the Nuggets. I'm not out there jumping to bet them. I'm sure on your massive parlay to win that 29K spread, I'm sure you're on the Nuggets side, so We'll be rooting for that one. Yeah, I think Jokic is obviously a good spend up on this slate. Now, we don't have Russell Westbrook, I believe, today. I know there's a lot of games, but I don't think I saw him on the slate. So
no Washington today.
Yeah, no Washington. So I do think Jokic is one of the better spend-ups on this slate. We will have spend-up options. Just the question is, what value do we get? I mean, the big issue with Jokic in DFS is you can only roster him in one spot on FanDuel, and you can only roster him on two spots, technically, on DraftKings, because there's a center and there's a utility. And with these guards and forwards, you sometimes have three opportunities to roster him, right? Like, you can put Russell Westbrook at the point guard, the guard, and the utility. That's three opportunities to roster them. You only have two opportunities to roster someone. And let's say you're on a slate where you have two absolute value centers, right? That you you feel like you need to play. Let's say there's two 3K centers that are probably going to put up 40 fantasy points. Well, Jokic's raw points just aren't as valuable as some other positions. So that's going to be something that you're going to run into possibly on this slate as we get more news throughout the day. It's 1:17. We got the 1:30 report coming up. We got the 5:30 report later. So stay tuned for that. But if we're talking just raw points, you love Jokic on this slate. He's one of the best spend ups here. And then I don't want to sleep on some of these other options on the Nuggets side. Like Campazzo, he is expensive, but man, he has been performing still. So at 5.7, I don't hate him. Not a priority spend. It does feel like it's going to be, we'll get to it. The Raptors are going to be the primary DFS plays of the day, it seems like. But I don't want to sleep on Campazzo if I'm in that mid-tier at 5.7. I do think he's a good play. I don't mind Austin Rivers at the 4.2K price tag. I do think there's a nice little ceiling still there on him. And then I know JSU loves him some Michael Porter Jr. I'll let him talk about that on DK. But I will say on FanDuel, 7.1K. You have to like Michael Porter Jr., and this is where JSU says you got to like him on DK too. So JSU, let's hear it.
It's just funny, man. You love someone on FanDuel because of a price difference. You can't play him on DraftKings.
I didn't say you can't play him. I didn't say you can't. I said it's not.
You didn't even mention him as a play. You were just like, well, on FanDuel he's in play at 7 point. He's in play on DraftKings too. Stop it, Mangone. He might be a little overpriced on DraftKings, but on a slate that we have with so many plays and probably will have a lot of value as well, because we all know as the day goes on, we're going to get injury news and more guys are probably going to be resting or out, and we'll get more value that opens up. But, he's in play just for that fact, and the fact that, they just don't have many guys that can put the ball in the hoop like consistently. The go-to guys, it's Michael Porter Jr., it's Jokic. Campazzo's been great, but he's more of a facilitator, right? When you watch his style of play, he's not trying to get his own shot, right? He's trying to create for others, run the floor, play good defense, cause problems that way and make plays that way. Michael Porter is literally there to score, come off of picks, looking for his shot, going to the rim, getting fouled. Same with Jokic. But Jokic is, as well a facilitator. So he will get him the ball and let him score. So that's why I think it works so well playing Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic together, because Jokic is that guy who, like Spread said, he can get a bunch of rebounds. I think this is a really good matchup for him there. He's going to get assists, and he can get his own scoring, and MPJ works so well with that. So I think it's a nice stack opportunity with both those guys in DFS. Personally, our boy Big T, though, is convinced that Denver does not want to win. Denver wants to stay in this 4 seed where right now they would be facing the Mavs. That could obviously change because the Mavs in Portland are, I'm pretty sure, what are they, tied right now? Or they're 1 game off or a half game off, whatever it is. But he feels pretty confident that the Nuggets do not want to get into that 3 seed. They want to stay in that 4 seed, where if they get in that 3 seed, it is possible that they see the Lakers, because if the Lakers can jump Portland, if they can win out and Portland can lose a couple games, it is possible. So in his mind, I think he's saying they want to stay there because they don't even want the chance of seeing the Lakers, and if they move up to the 3 seed, there is a shot. Maybe it's a far shot, but there is a shot they see the Lakers. So it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about this game because I feel like I should like the Nuggets, but I also think Charlotte's playing hard and they want to win, I think. So maybe Charlotte is the lean here at +5.5 for me.
Real quick, do you think is Big T is this just him thinking just off the cuff, or is this he knows some people in Denver? That's why I asked.
Yeah,
he doesn't know some people, so I'm wondering if he's heard anything. What was your read when he told it to you?
I don't know. I think it was more of a feel of his. Honestly, if I'm looking at the standings and I'm Denver, I might be saying the same thing though. I don't want to play the Lakers in the first round. That's the last team I want to play if LeBron James is coming back, Anthony Davis is looking healthy. Why would you want to play that team in the first round?
Let me jump in real quick. So I did all this last night. I'm such a dork. I spent way too much time on this. I don't think that Denver will end up in the 3 seed. And my idea on that is basically just the Clippers' final 4 games are Toronto, at Charlotte, at Houston, at Oklahoma City. So it sucks that they're all on the road. But they're only playing 1 team that's even got playoff possibilities in here. Those last 2 should just be a cakewalk, even if they sit everyone. And then you look, they're a spot ahead. They're 45-23. Nuggets are 44-24. I don't know. It's hard for me to see the Clippers going anything but 3-1 here. Seems pretty hard for the Nuggets to overtake them.
You would think Toronto and OKC are auto wins, right? OKC is just the most auto win right now. Toronto,
and Houston is too. So, 2 auto wins for sure. I don't know if
Houston is for certain, but it could be.
You really don't think? Wow, okay.
Well, if they play all their guys, I think it's an auto.
And they're not going to.
They play all their guys, but if they don't play all their guys, right?
I'm not convinced, though, that they don't sit PG and Kawhi for the last 2 games or something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't sit them
the
here.
Clippers over Houston with that lineup they're running out. We know that Porter's done for the year, Wall's done for the year, Gordon's done for the year. Maybe you'll get some Christian Wood minutes, but I'd even doubt that.
I agree, but I will say when you.
Oh, we lost him right when he was going to make a good point.
How do you know it was going to be a good point?
I don't know. He was just gearing up.
You don't know who's going to be a good point.
It felt like it was going to be
Stop
a
it, man. Go making good points right now. Relax, spread.
Right,
Everyone knows it, too. It helped, all right? The show just got 10 times better. It cut Mangone right out. Oh, no, he's back.
He's back.
Mind.
Let's hear what's going on. Yeah, you're back. Hey, I said you were going to make a good point. Prove me right.
I heard every second of that. Very hurtful.
Spread was convinced that you were going to give a good point there. I said, you don't know if it was going to be a good point.
So do you really so there's something very powerful about a bunch of dudes that are like trying to make NBA rosters and like trying to prove something. And then a bunch of dudes that like, they're in the postseason, right? Like if you tell me the Clippers and Rockets played and there was no PG and there was like no Kawhi and like they were really mailing it in a bit, like I wouldn't be shocked if like dudes like Terrence Mann and like Zubac and all them, they're just like kind of chilling. Like it's Boogie Cousins, right? Like you could see Boogie Cousins in there. They might let him do a whole revenge game and he's terrible on defense if he's in there. I wouldn't be shocked.
And he cuts out again.
If the Rockets played the Clippers, the Rockets did beat them.
All right, and let me just point out that OKC's got a bunch of young, hungry dudes trying to make NBA rosters, and they've been winning by 30 points, losing by 30 points.
So the one thing I'll say, though, about what Mangone's talking about, I will say there is a difference between those secondary bench guys on good teams that have made the NBA and guys that are getting rolled out that, you know, a lot of them were not even in contention to see any minutes in the beginning of the season or on the G League or, you know, signed in the, during the season sometime. Those guys are playing for like a contract, you know what I mean? They're playing, you know, so that does make some sense, like to back a guy like the Raptors. Look at the Raptors roster right now. I mean, if you just take out Gary Trent Jr. and
we're going to get to that game, and that's about all they have.
Boucher may be playing. Like, take those guys out. Like, look at the rest of their team. Jalen Harris, no one even knows who that is. He played at Nevada. No one even knows.
Yeah, I know him, but I think that I degened on some Nevada games last year. So.
But that's what I mean, though. It's like you wouldn't even have known that, like, he was really there. He's going to be playing for something. That the Freddie Gillespie or whatever his name is, that backup center, he's going to be playing for a job. Like all these secondary guys from bad teams that get signed during the middle of the year or whatever, the G League, those guys are playing. Those guys are going to play hard, right? Yeah. The Houston Rockets guys are the same thing. Those KJ Martins and all those guys, the Thomas kid that they just picked up, like, those guys are going to try the rest of the year.
But, like, at the same time, can I say that guys like Luke Kennard and Terrence Mann are going to be fighting for their playoff minutes?
I mean, I think they know what's happening there, Spread.
Okay.
Already figured out. The reason I say this is, like, I've watched some of these Rocky guys. Like, some of these guys I think are, like, here to stay in the league. Like, I think Martin is here to stay. Like, I think he's solid. I'm not saying
for sure he is.
Like, in the league where there's 30 teams, I'm not saying he's on some title team, right? But like, I think he's here saying, I think this Thomas guy is not the worst guy in there's worse basketball players out there that should not be in the league compared to him. So I'm curious to see, like I said, I see this Rockets team, and I think there are some decent pieces on there, young guys that like are not as bad as I think people would think now. OKC has dudes like Gabriel Deck and Charlie Brown, and they suck, Spread. I'm sorry, they're just not good. But,
hey, Gabriel Deck, 2017 Argentina MVP. But, hey, we're breaking down tomorrow's card. Let's get back to today's. And, Travis, this is a game I want to talk to you about because it features your Celtics, who absolutely crushed me on Sunday. I had the under. I was on the Pick Fly show with Jeff, and I say, this is going to be a game with playoff atmosphere. It's going to be a hard-fought defensive battle. And they go out and they give up like close to 80 points in the first half. You have to be kidding me. Travis, what's going on with this Boston Celtics team? Are they completely done? At this point, do they tank and go for a lottery spot? Like, talk to me about the Celtics. Did they get it right tonight? Is this a bounce back here? What's going on?
Yeah, it's not pretty if you're a Celtics fan. Man, the tank for the lottery spot's not bad, but I can't see myself backing the Celtics here in this spot. I would rather back the Heat. And I just think the Heat, we know how they can be at this time of year, right? They will push the minutes. Jimmy Minutes is back, right? I'm sure, JSU can't wait to talk about that. 36 minutes and 40 minutes the last couple games. They're talking about, ramping up that playoff rotation. This is where you might see more Goran Dragic as well. And Goran Dragic, we talked about it, right? 22 minutes in the regular season, 24. We don't want that Goran Dragic. But when we get like the 30, 32, that's the Goran Dragic we like. So, and that helps make the team better. So I like the Heat here in this spot at 1.5. I think that's the move, especially when you just lose Jaylen Brown, right? It's a little demoralizing for sure for him to now be out. And it's been a long year of injuries, and I'm sure it's taking a toll on them. And I think the inside of the Celtics, right, it's not great down low. Sure, Robert Williams, he can be decent.
I don't think Williams is going to be there tonight, is he?
Yeah, he's not, though.
He's out. Robert Williams is out for sure.
Yeah, I was just talking as a whole, right? Like,
okay.
they're down low. Like, it's technically rim protection there has gotten a lot better, but it's been a disaster basically the whole season down low. I mean, they had that 110-game stretch where Robert Williams was incredible, but then he got hurt. And Tristan Thompson is going to have his issues down low there. Luke Cornett is not going to be able to pull it off. It's just going to be a disaster, in my opinion, for the Celtics going down this stretch here. I'm worried about them in the postseason. I'm curious to see how they answer and what happens in the playing game. And then I'll probably evaluate from there and see if Joey Work wants to make a Knicks and Celtics bet. We'll see. Things have changed, Joey Work. This is why you don't make bets, right now. You wait to do it to see how the injury news all shakes out.
Wait, what's changed, Mangone? Get in there and get a bet.
Jaylen Brown is out, man. The team is not the same. He's out for the season. JSU, don't be the guy that's trying to tell me to bet on my team or whatever. And because if that's the case,
I mean, you were big on the Celtics over the Knicks.
I was, but no Jaylen Brown is huge. I mean, things change. That's why, again, another thing we had.
I have a question. You don't think Tatum and Kemba and Smart they can get them over the hump?
I think they can, but I wanna wait and see. I think they can.
I wonder what the odds are on that. Like if they do match up in the regulars, I wonder how that.
It's going to be like Knicks minus 190, comeback probably plus 150
really?
on the Celtics.
You think they're going to be heavy favorites? I think it's going to be closer.
I can't imagine the Celtics taking a lot of money right now. So I'm thinking even if they line it's closer,
if I'm looking at that,
anticipate New York money.
And Knicks are big favorites. I might throw some money on the Celtics.
Agreed.
If it's that big. Now, if it's closer, I don't know if I will, because I do think it's a lot different without Jaylen Brown. Obviously, that does make a difference. But I also think that the Celtics are not like dead. That's not like a close it, book it series where the Knicks are just going to win and roll. I don't believe that. But do the Knicks have a better shot of winning now? That's definitely for sure.
Well, unfortunately for you guys, according to my really loose projections last night, the Nets will be playing the Celtics in the first round. And I think they'll get absolutely smoked there.
Well, they're getting dusted anyways. So.
they're not winning. So.
All right, JSU, we'll make this one quick. You're on Miami, right? For tonight?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jimmy Buckets is back, baby. That's what we want.
JC, real quick before you dive in, we're replacing Russell Westbrook. Like when Russell Westbrook's not in the slate, we have Jimmy Butler. He is the new guy just to slam into your lineups, right? Like he is going to crush in this spot. Am I right?
It's the lock button. It's like on the cash chart at the bottom when you wrote like don't fade RWB. Like you got to write don't fade Jimmy Buckets.
That's what I'm thinking of doing today. I'm highly thinking about it. I'm hoping and praying he's not one of those like opto pop guys, right? Like I hope that they're not ramping up the minutes for him. I hope
not. I don't know. I haven't built any like roster gen or anything like that, but I hope he's not. You think he will be? No.
I'm not sure. I hope not. That's all.
He's like 9K Mangone.
Yeah, but I do think he's going to crush in this spot. And he's only – here's another key with him, JSU. It's going to make it difficult. He's only small forward eligible, right? And so when you're building out your lineups, you can only put him in 3 spots, right? Like but you typically don't use your util for like a forward, right? Like it doesn't typically happen. So in reality, it's only 2 spots. And you have Gary Trent Jr. on this slate, right? I think for instance, a great way to talk about this for DFS. So if you look at Toronto, right, everyone's going to want to roster Toronto the whole day. They're Toronto. They're jamming them in their lineups. And I'm pulling them up now. How many guys on Toronto are small forward eligible? Well, Gary Trent and Bembry are, which I think are 2 guys that are going to get some ownership today, especially Trent. And I could see a lot of people either plugging in Trent, obviously at the shooting guard or that small forward, but I wouldn't be shocked if you see him be like, oh, small forward's gross. Let me just throw Trent in there, right? And that could hurt Jimmy Butler's ownership, which is good for us, right? I do think that Jimmy Buckets is an amazing play today, and I think Bam's a good one too, but I prefer Butler over Bam. I don't know if you agree, JSU.
I would agree on that. Yeah, Butler over Bam. I don't mind Bam though.
I don't mind having them both and stacking it.
It's not
but my thing is like Bam being so close to Jimmy is what kills me. Like I wish he was a little further out. Like Bam is 8,600 and Jimmy's 92. I wish Bam was like 8K and Jimmy was like 92 or 82 or something like that. Just a little bit more off.
Why?
The price
I don't
tag.
get that. Why?
But just from roster construction and build, like it's a lot to pay for those two guys when you're building DFS lineups. In my opinion, where you want the ceiling of a 9K player in Jimmy Butler, like I want him to have the triple double, like and stuff like that. Bam, the problem with him is he doesn't like score a ton at times. He's not ultra aggressive offensively, and like yes, he can rebound at a high rate at times. He can block shots. He's super athletic. He can get assists too. That's another thing. Like he could also get a triple. Like that's the type of upside he has. But he doesn't have that monster scoring ceiling with points, and it kills me because Jimmy's an all-around player. I wish Bam was like more dominant offensively. So like I had that shot at getting like a 25 and 10 game from him, where he didn't have to do all this other stuff, and Jimmy could be the all-around player from a fantasy standpoint. When you look at stats and you see how spread out both those guys are, it's good, but at the same time, I wish one of them was more aggressive offensively and the other one kind of did the all-around stuff.
All right, yeah, and as someone who's still learning, that's some good stuff here. And hey, Travis already previewed this next one, so let's go straight to it. It's the Clippers and the Raptors, and I think we're going to have more interest from the DFS perspective than the actual betting perspective. 13.5 seems about right. And then, Travis, why don't you take this away? Because if I am laying 13.5, who's the roster I'm going against? Gary Trent Jr., Bembry, and who else? Malachi Flynn? Like, who are they throwing out there for us?
Yeah, so I mean, I've already looked at this. We can project the starting lineup. So I think Malachi Flynn is starting. I think you get Gary Trent Jr. I think at the 3, you get Stanley Steamer in there at the 3. I think
our guy Stanley Johnson, huh?
I think I think they put Bembry off the bench. It just kind of makes sense, unless they really want him defensively. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they want Bembry off the bench there. I'm assuming Boucher is just out. I know he's questionable, but we'll just assume he's out. So then I think they go with Wannabe at the 4, and then I think they go Birch at the 5. And then I assume Gillespie's off the bench. Aaron Baines is out, JSU. I know you and I talked about that a little bit, but he is out for the game. And then I assume their bench is going to be Jalen Harris, Bembry, and then Gillespie, and then maybe Boucher. I think that's the full team right there. I don't think I'm missing anyone else.
Do they have 8 without Boucher or 8 with him?
All right, so I'll do the count without. The count without is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 bodies, and Baines is out, so that's 9. So they will have 8, and Boucher will make it 9. So that's obviously a big one. Even if Boucher's in, though, like I wouldn't be shocked if they said, "Yeah, Boucher's in, but he's on a minutes limit, right?" And it's like a 14 minutes limit, and like that still wouldn't be a ton, and that would still be great for a lot of these Raptors.
Yeah. But if he's out, like,
the
Raptors are just, they're all pretty good plays here.
Yep, onslaught him, and then I'm assuming you stay away from this game, like betting wise, because it's like I do think the Clippers end up sitting guys, but it's just a disaster. I would stay away. I don't think you want to get involved right now. If you get involved, man, I don't know. I lean. I don't even know what I lean. It's a disaster. I just don't bet it. It's a terrible game.
I lean taking the points, but only throw it in a $20 parlay to try and win $30,000. You're not gonna. I don't think that you're really gonna find an edge like long-term betting games like this. JSU, am I wrong? Do you got something that I'm missing here? Why we should be getting involved in this game?
No, I'm pretty much in line with you guys. I mean,
cool. Let's just go to the next one then. Did you have any DFS stuff for that one? It seems pretty cut and dry, right? Load up Toronto.
I mean, yeah, it's as of right now. I mean, we don't, know what can happen, but as of right now, it seems like we're loading up Toronto. Probably staying away from the Clippers. I don't know, and maybe Mangone likes some Clippers. I don't know, but I'm probably going to stay away. They've been a situation that I don't want a piece of. This game could get ugly if they're running out their full squad. If no one rests, so. I'm just going to stay away for now unless news changes it.
JSU, I have a feeling this final countdown show is going to be wild for you tonight. I think stuff's going to be I mean, it's going to be pivoting around like crazy. So let's jump into the next game. The Brooklyn Nets, 44-24, 34-34 against the spread, head to Chicago to take on the Bulls, 29-39, 35-32 against the spread. The Bulls have taken money. They opened at plus 5.5 last night. It's plus 4.5 now. This total is 232. Didn't like a lot of totals today. I was leaning over here. I do like the way that Chicago's offense has looked since Levine returned. He's obviously 100% healthy over the after effects of COVID that he had just recovered from. Vukovic is back. They're looking good. And Chicago, this is a must win. I don't know 100% for sure, but doing the things last night, 99% sure they need to win out in order to have a chance to catch either. See, I don't think they're going to catch the Wizards. I think the Wizards are going to win. So they're trying to catch the Pacers here, which I think they have a great chance of doing. They need to win tonight. They're catching 4.5. I like Chicago here. I wish I would have got that 5.5 last night. JSU, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be with you here. I think I like Chicago too. I really like them for DFS. I think they're really interesting plays in DFS. A lot of people are going to look at those price tags and say they're overpriced, but you got the Nets team, and for whatever reason, the Nets team are playing their guys high minutes right now. I have no idea, honestly, why. They're locked into like a top 3 seed pretty much, so I don't know why you'd be running out your guys high minutes like Kevin Durant.
I'll tell you why. Here's why I would do it if I was the Nets. Something we talked about earlier. You get that 2 seed, you're going to play Boston or Charlotte or one of the dregs from the play-in. You fall to that 3, you probably play Miami in the first round. Which,
yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that seems to me the team that you want to avoid. I think that 2-3 is going to be huge. And if I'm Milwaukee, that's why that loss for Milwaukee last night was so bad. They really had a good chance. They just grabbed it to the tiebreak against the Nets by getting those great wins at home against Brooklyn. And then they just throw that tiebreak away by losing to the Spurs and losing in a terrible fashion too.
What I'm surprised at is that they have injury-riddled Kevin Durant, and they're running him out there 40 minutes.
I think they're just trying to get him ready, right?
No, they are, but I don't know. Like, is that I don't know. Like, he's going to play 40 minutes in the playoffs or 35 to 40 minutes.
I think I'd rather ramp him up now. I don't want to ramp him up in the super high intensity. Like, let's get his body used to the 40 minutes, and then the intensity is going to pick up next week. So yeah. I'm actually not surprised by the way Nash is handling this.
Either way, though, I think that this is a really good game to stack up. You just take the studs from this game and then pair them with the value. I think the studs are going to be the studs are going to be really low owned, especially the Bulls studs, right? Like, look at these prices for Levine and Vucevic. I've loved to attack centers all year against Brooklyn too. So, like, even though I hate paying over 10K for Vooch sounds insane, but on this type of slate, I think in tournaments it's really interesting. But if you do it, like I said, I think you should play a Brooklyn guy, a Kyrie or a KD on the run back, and maybe just play Zach LaVine too, and hope like literally just your 3 studs just crush and your value,
values out. Yeah. Hey, I like it too because this is one of the few games that I actually circled the total, but I do like the over of 232 here. Travis, what do you think?
Yeah, I like what JSU's saying. I definitely think in tournaments it makes sense. And like, you're just different. If you plug in, if I told you, and I'll just say do 2 guys. If you plug in Vucevic and you plug in Kyrie, like you're different. Like you don't eat some Toronto chalk. It's not a bad route to go in tournaments.
Isn't that like just fantastic matchup wise? You're getting Vukovic going against Brooklyn centers, right? Who are terrible, and then you're getting Kyrie going against Chicago guards.
Yeah,
like, who are they throwing? Satoransky's their best defensive option. Seems like a great matchup for both gentlemen.
Yeah, when you're someone like me who plays one lineup, it's a little tougher, especially when I'm doing like cash and stuff. Like, it's not as easy. But when you're playing multiple lineups, or if you're playing GPPs, right? It's a great way to be different and get an advantage on people. And again, like, you don't have to be crazy with your build from there. You don't have to be like, oh, like, let me go out there and play like this, like, I'm trying to think of like a random guard, right? But like, oh, let me play like, let's say Paul George and Kawhi are out. You don't have to play the guessing game of like, let me put like a Reggie Jackson or a Terrence Mann, and then maybe you guess it wrong, right? And it just doesn't work out. You can just plug in the really easy values because you're going to get that combination. Some people might put Vucevic in, right? Some might just put Vuce by himself. But who's going to put Vooch and Kyrie together? What is the exact percentage of the 100% of people playing in your tournament? How much actually have that combo? Not that many. So I like that idea that you can eat a lot of different chalk with the Raptors, which is a good way to go. Obviously, this slate can change at any time, but like what JSU's saying there, I don't mind going with the Bulls here as like a slight lean. I'm not in love with it though, because it's like the Nets, right? The Nets just always find a way to get it done. And I just don't know if I want to bet against them necessarily. I think it's a good stay away. Like we've talked about a lot of different games that I've already liked. If you force me, if I'm doing the spread 29K parlay, I guess I'm putting the Bulls on there, but I'm not in love with it.
All right. Sounds pretty good. Let's jump into the next game here.
One other thing, spread too. Just looking at this real quick, Vucevic's point total is 23.5. I'm looking on DK Sportsbook. I like the over on that, over 23.5. He's hit the over in 3 of his last 5. With the minutes he's getting, mid to high 30s in close games. And the shot numbers, if you look at the shot numbers, 22 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. He's going to have to do that again. He's going to have to be ultra aggressive against this Brooklyn team who, again, has just struggled against bigs all year. I think that's a really nice, number we can attack at 23.5.
Yeah, and if we want to just go for just random complaints, how did Brooklyn allow Houston to grab Jared Allen from them? It's just the one thing they're missing. They were obviously going all in for this year. I still can't believe that
what did they get? Was that part of the Harden trade or was it something else?
No, it was part of the Harden trade. They gave up the picks.
He fits so well with James Harden, the way James Harden gets into the lane.
I know. It was ridiculous that they did that.
He fits so well.
All right. Let's jump into this Philadelphia 76ers game. They're 47-21, 36-30 against the spread. They hinted Indiana to take on the Pacers 32-36, 28-40 against the spread. So when I was doing my little projections last night, Philly's got a pretty easy path here. They got a real easy schedule to finish off. So I expect them to be the number 1 seed. If the Bulls do make the playoffs, it will be off the Pacers' ineptitude. And to me, it doesn't seem like the Pacers would actually mind missing the playoffs this year. Looking at today's injury report, as they have ruled Sumner, Lamb, and Brogdon out. We already know Turner's out for the rest of the year. Jakar Sampson's questionable. So when I got this news, I went to go see the line. Is it -10? Is it -11 now? No, it moved to -5.5. What's that telling me is that I think that these books expect Joel Embiid to sit. Because I don't understand how that news moves the line in favor of the Pacers. So let's go ahead and talk about this game, and maybe with the idea that Joel Embiid sits, or maybe I'm interpreting this wrong, and you guys can correct me here. What do you think, JSU?
Yeah. So what do you see the line at right now? Because it's not showing on DK Sportsbook.
At Bookmaker, I have -5.5.
Okay, because it looks like they took it off on DraftKings still. I don't know if they
refresh and see if everything's
Well, it's around 1:30, so that's interesting that they took it off. They could have been preparing for the news to come, and they just took it off to take it off because the news is coming. They took it off because of all the Pacers stuff, right? So Sumner out, Lamb out, Brogdon out, Jakar questionable with a concussion. That's why.
Bookmaker still got it up. But it's 5.5, and I thought with all that Lamb news and Brogdon, it would move it to 7 or 8. I'm thinking Embiid sits.
If Embiid sits, it completely changes this game, in my opinion, because he's by far the biggest. That would be the biggest news for this team, getting him out, as opposed to like a Tobias Harris or Ben Simmons, anyone else. Mm-hmm. So you have it at 6 right now.
I have it at -5.5 right now.
-5.5 right now.
Yeah.
I think I would lean. This is tough. I think I would lean the Pacers here, but I'm not fully confident. They're definitely still playing to win, trying to play to win. Problem is they can't stop anyone. Defensively, they struggle right now, big time. But I think. Again, this is a game that I will not bet until I get whatever news that we think we're going to get. Like, I want to see Joel Embiid out. Like, I'm not going to bet this game unless I get that news.
That's fair. Mangone, you and I are both really into this stuff. And I'll tell you what, this is a handicapping mistake I made. I watched the Pacers meltdown between Greg Foster and Batase. in my personal opinion, I thought it was ridiculous that they suspended the coach and not the player there. But regardless, then I read the report that came out on Bleacher Report the next day, basically throwing Bjorkgren under the bus. He micromanages the assistants. Nobody likes him, particularly Brogdon and Sabonis. And I said, this is a perfect opportunity for a team to quit on their coach and get rid of him. And they did the exact opposite. I read it wrong. I felt it. It was just you take the L, right? They've come out and they've been playing. They've seemed like they're playing hard for this coach. What do you make of all this news, and how are you approaching this game?
It is funny. I haven't bet against the. I haven't bet against the Pacers too much here. I did want to bet. I think that Kings game, right? I think was the one game where.
And that was the game with the incident.
Yeah, that was that. Well, no, that was. It was the night before that happened. So that was.
No, it was against the Kings that it happened, wasn't it?
Maybe not. I can't remember, but either way.
Yeah, it was because it was Mo Harkless that got the putback dunk that Batazze didn't box out on.
I guess I thought the report came out a little sooner before that. Maybe the Goga stuff not. Maybe the Goga stuff happened in that game. But either way, I do love seeing that stuff and seeing what's going to happen. The problem is I don't think the Pacers can fall out of their spots. That's why I didn't think it was a huge deal. But yes, they could easily quit on their coach and lose out and still sit to the playoff seed, right? Problem is Sabonis, man. He has been so good. And my big issue with this slate, and I think for a betting perspective, I agree with JSU. I want to see what's happening with Embiid, but DFS, I think this is a huge, this could change the whole landscape of the entire slate. If Embiid is out, one, you're going to have a lot of Philadelphia guys that are in play. Specifically, no rim protection. So Dwight Howard, 4.2K, would be an absolute monster. I mean, if you look, he has played, if you look at the last 5 games, right? 36.25 fantasy points in 18 minutes. 14 minutes, 9.7. You're not happy about that. 16 minutes, 22. 15 minutes, 22.25. And then 22 minutes, 39. I mean, Dwight Howard, and this is why spending up at center might be a problem at this slate for a guy like Jokic, is because if Embiid's out, Dwight Howard is going to be someone that you need to roster, right? He is going to be a stone lock if Embiid is out. Now, there is a chance if they keep Ben Simmons in and Harris, they might put Dwight Howard off the bench, and the role doesn't change as much as you'd like, and it might be one of those other guys going in there at the starting center spot. But Dwight Howard is going to be an amazing play if there's no rim protection. Would absolutely dominate here in this spot. Now, they also are dealing with, I know Korkmaz was hurt, so I'm trying to pull it all up now to see. Korkmaz was hurt.
He's out. He's playing.
Out still. Yeah, so if they sat a Simmons, I don't think they are going to, but
Simmons and Curry are reading in on Basketball Monster.
Okay, yeah. So here's the problem too with this slate. What if Embiid is out, right? Now we have a slate where I really want to spend up. I want to spend for some mid-tier Raptors, right? I don't want to ignore some of these guys in the 5 and 6K range that are good plays. I don't want to ignore all the studs, and there's a lot of studs to like. And if I mix in a Tobias Harris or a Ben Simmons throughout my lineups, I'm not going to be able to get all these studs and all these mid-tier guys. So it's going to cause some issues with my building. And do I want to shake up my whole idea and roster construction for Ben Simmons? Is that, and I can't wait to hear what JSU says about that. I do think Tobias Harris at 7.2 is a good play, but again, I don't know exactly how to handle him. I mean, he's 7.2, and if there's no Embiid, he should crush. Same with the Ben Simmons, 7.3 and no rim protection. Ben Simmons should crush. So I don't know, JSU, talk to me about it, because these Philadelphia guys, they will, if there's no Embiid, it'll shake up the slate completely. It shakes up my entire roster construction idea, because I think I can get away with spending on 2 studs and getting a mid-tier Raptor or 2 and then some cheapies in there. I think I can make that all work. But if this news hits, it just changes everything up for me.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was wondering why I was getting messages in the Discord talking about Ben Simmons. I'm like, how are we already talking about Ben Simmons? I guess this is why, possibly getting no Joel Embiid possibly would boost his fantasy value. Someone was saying 7.3K, he's locked. It's been 7.3K, it feels like, for 2 weeks now. On FanDuel, he's been 7K forever. I don't know. Everyone knows I'm not a big fan of Ben Simmons. If there was a team for him to beat up, though, no rim protection, don't play defense, run the pace. I mean, it's literally a dream spot. So when I say I'm not a big fan of Ben Simmons, I just think there's so much talent there, and it's completely wasted on a guy who's really just a defender. When it comes down to it, you're like, oh, yeah, he's a great on-ball defender. And then you're like, okay, well, he doesn't really do anything else amazing to me anyways. I watch him play, and half the time I don't even know he's on the court. Like, that's when you know a guy is just not there. And you're going to give me regular season. What's the regular season? Okay, that's fair. On the playoffs, we'll see where he is. We'll see if he jumps off the screen and dominates in the playoffs. I don't know if he will. A lot of people think he will. I'm telling you right now, I watched a game against the San Antonio Spurs where they rested their entire main guys. In Philly, literally could not, like, they
I lost that bet. I know what you're talking about.
Ben Simmons faded from that game. Literally, you had no idea he was in that game except for 2 possessions where he played really good defense on the ball. That was the only 2 times I was like, oh, Ben Simmons is there. There he is. I see him. He's on the court. He's actually playing today. Like, other than that, I didn't know he was on the court. I didn't even know he was there. That's how little he did. You can't take a guy who he's trying to post up and Joel Embiid's there. Like, how are you posting up and you have Joel Embiid? Get out of the post. What are you thinking? Like, Joel Embiid is posting up, not you. Like, I don't know. Ben Simmons, to me, we'll see. Everyone has their own opinions. For fantasy, though, I could see you rostering him if Joel Embiid's out here because, like Mangone said, there's no rim protection. There's no defense. I said it too. Pacers, what have they struggled with? They can't stop anyone. They're literally like, their teams are scoring like 140 points on them sometimes. Like, yes, that's a team I want to roster guys against. It's just I don't love picking on Philly unless we get guys confirmed out. And right now we don't have any. We assume that there could be some coming, though.
Real quick, I just got to get your guys' opinion on this. So in that Bleacher Report that came out, with Bjorkgren and all the problems, one of the big issues was Sabonis doesn't want to switch on defense and end up on the perimeter. What do you think of that? That seems like it's pretty rigid and out of touch with today's basketball. But does he have a point there, JSU? Is that a bad coaching decision to be switching with Sabonis? Sabonis doesn't want to switch. He wants to run through and he wants to stay on the big.
Yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't want to switch if like nowadays in the NBA where all these guards are doing are trying to get those switches on the bigs to then like make them look silly and get them defensively. If I'm Sabonis, like, no way I want to switch. I would definitely want to stay with my guy and fight through and all that stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know, but that's
Sabonis also isn't like Sabonis also isn't like a cement feet kind of guy. I'm not saying he's like the best at getting through screens, but he can get through them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's why it's like he didn't seem like he's that. I understand like Turner a little more. I just thought that was interesting.
You don't want him on the perimeter either, which was the funny part. And maybe he feels like, I don't know, when I'm out there, maybe he feels like he can get into foul trouble a little easier and stuff like that because, those are mismatches. However you want to shake it, like, I don't know, if you put, Kyrie out there and Kyrie switches on to Sabonis, like, that's a complete mismatch. Sabonis doesn't want to be on an island against Kyrie Irving. Like, why would you? Or any other guard, Zach LaVine or any of these guards. Like, why would you want to do that?
By the way, real quick, I do want to talk about Sabonis. Like, JSU, what are you doing with him in DFS? Because, like, let's say Embiid's out. Well, there's not a ton of rim protection that you love. And, like, it's a back-to-back. And, like, we have a lot of studs that want to spend him on this slate. He's forward eligible, too, which is good.
Why do you hate Dwight Howard's rim protection so much?
Not that I hate
him. I don't think he's that bad.
Here's the thing. Embiid's is like, he's the best in the league, right? So I'm worried about, like, Sabonis has been absolutely incredible. If you open up the game logs, like, he's
been fantastic. Yeah.
So, like, if you just do the game log, check the big T, right? So we got 72.5, 74.25, 55, 48.75, 74.25, 75.75. I mean, he has been absolutely smashing. So my question to JSU is, if Dwight is in there instead of Embiid, do you want to spend now on Sabonis? Because no one wants to attack Embiid, right? There's other studs you'll probably go to, but does that change the game? And you might not even get Dwight starting. You will see some times where Sabonis cross paths with Dwight, but again, no Embiid is going to really change up this defense so much where I think it makes Sabonis more viable. But the question is, do you think he's a good enough stud compared to the other ones to actually make that spend option there, JSU?
Yeah, I mean, we could get Mike Scott starting, shockingly. Like I would not be surprised if they decided to start like Mike Scott over Dwight Howard. They've done it before too, right? We've seen that happen where someone like him draws a start. I don't know. Like, I hate playing guys against Joel Embiid. I know that because the way Joel Embiid is just so good at drawing fouls and everything. If he's going to be out, it definitely makes me a little more comfortable. But I don't love necessarily attacking Dwight Howard either, as crazy as that sounds, because Dwight is just – he's a pest. Like, he's a monster of a pest, but he's just annoying. Like, he does things that piss people off and, can get them into foul trouble as well. And who knows? Sometimes he takes himself out of the game with the things he does when, the refs aren't giving him calls and he's constantly complaining, which he does a lot. But sometimes he gets the offensive player into trouble, by the way he plays and by the way he kind of tries to bully people. That's what he does. He really just tries to bully people. He tries to get away with I wouldn't call them cheap shots, but he tries to get away with, overly aggressive type moves, down low. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Not a guy, though, I like to pick on, as crazy as that sounds. I know we're talking about Sabonis, but Dwight Howard is kind of similar in the way I don't love to, attack him because of the way he plays.
All right. Yeah, that's a great breakdown there. So let's jump into this next game because when I was going over everything last night, this is one I circled where I said, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. I actually didn't come down on a side yet. I think this is going to be a fantastic matchup. Definitely has playoff possibilities, so should be getting full effort from both teams. And I'm talking about the Dallas Mavericks, who are 40-28, heading to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies, who are 35-33. Memphis catching 1.5 at home. The Grizzlies are in the play-in. I think the Mavericks will clinch a playoff spot, not a play-in spot, with the win tonight. Fantastic game between two teams that are getting hot at the right time. JSU, who do you like in this game?
Yeah, both teams are definitely going to be playing hard. Memphis has been, rolling their guys out big minutes. I kind of like how they've been playing a little bit to finish out the season. My team, Dallas, man, God, I had faith in this team going into the season. Kind of let me down. You can make the excuse, they've had injuries and stuff, but so has a lot of teams. So there's no excuses. They haven't played as well as I thought they would play throughout the year. I don't know. This is a really close game. My heart wants me to pick Dallas. My head from watching Memphis play, though, the last week or two kind of leans me Memphis. So I don't know. Right now,
it's a tough game,
to me, it really is. I think right now it's close to a pick 'em, right, spread?
Plus 1.5. Yeah, it was +2. Memphis took a little money, plus 1.5 now. But that's moving 0.5 points, not crazy at all.
I'm not gonna not pick some. I have to lean one way because you guys know I can't just not lean aside. I think I'm gonna lean. God, I want to lean my heart. I want to lean Dallas. My head's telling me Memphis, though. I'm going to go Memphis. I think Memphis is my lean. The way they've been playing, I like a little more.
All right, Mangone, we're ready for your strong take here. We know you're going to come in with some fire. You definitely got a side in this one, right?
Well, I will say two teams that don't get me excited are Memphis and Dallas. They are not. I'm probably more excited to talk about a crappy Timberwolves team than these two.
You want to talk about the Kings and the Thunder, Mangone? We'll jump right to that game, buddy.
No, I'm not talking about that. No, there's nothing wrong. These teams are just they're just those lame they got the Dallas team, right? I know they don't have Porzingis right now, but they I feel like they have one star, and I don't even know if the other one's actually a star in Porzingis. He is, but
he's not.
I know, but he's a name, right? Yeah, I guess because maybe I'm in the New York area, so they hyped him up so much in New York.
He did, yeah.
He's got a name to him, right? So he's a half a star, I guess you could count him as, if you really want. I think people want to make him a star, but he's not, right? I think people want him to be one, but he just isn't.
Yeah, no, he's not even the best athlete out of Latvia. That's clearly Jelena Ostapenko.
Anyways, who? So Dallas here. I think that they're a team that I think they're solid, but I don't love them. I like Memphis.
Hold on. Timeout. News that just changed this game.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, Jonas Valanciunas.
Oh, this game's over then. Yeah.
Jaren Jackson. Okay, bet Dallas right now.
You like Dallas in with no Joe Val?
Yeah.
Bet Dallas
yeah.
right now. Where is
bet
it?
Dallas right now. If it's still up at 1.5, just bet it. Like
the selection is no longer available. I was too late.
I think I got it.
Yeah,
see,
maybe
I do. See, you should have followed your heart, guys. I should have leaned my heart at the beginning and just took them right away. Oh God,
man, this feels like a nice little moral of the story at the end of the Wizard of the Oz. So,
yeah.
All right, do you guys have anything more for this game, or do you want to jump into the next one?
Well,
it seems like Dallas is aside now.
DFS wise, we should probably mention that situation changes a ton, right? Like, I mean, so I talked about this a little bit earlier, right? I talked about, hey, like centers could be opening up if anyone gets ruled out. Well, like, okay, Xavier Tillman is 3.6K. You can't ignore him. You got Brandon Clark, 3.4. I mean, those are extreme value plays here now that you're going to have to consider with Jaren Jackson Jr. out and Valanciunas doubtful. I don't think I need to jump on.
The thing, too, is Brandon Clark might get more ownership just for the fact that he's power forward and center eligible.
Correct.
Whereas Tillman is only center. So you're talking about a guy who can fit in so many different spots, whereas Tillman, you can only play him at center. And let's say we get that news that Embiid's out and Dwight Howard. Well, now you've got the centers from the Raptors that may interest you too, and then the stud centers. So this slate is going to be interesting. Like I said at the beginning of the show, there's going to be more news that comes out that just kind of changes this slate. But the one thing that I know for sure is this slate is moving to the stars and scrub route is going to be easy to do. It's just the stars, I think, is where you can get different. That's going to be the key, though.
Yeah, and I mean, I've really talked about it all show, and I'll talk about it at the 5 o'clock show when I do it with Holden and Title.
Yes.
You'll talk about it. You'll talk about it on the Final Countdown. You're not going to have an opportunity to spend up at center now. Like, you're just not, because of all the value, especially.
Well, what if I want to play Vucevic, Mangone?
Go and do it. You can, but I'm just telling you, like, the optimal route. So that's why I'm saying Jokic is going to be low owned. Vucevic is going to be low owned. Like, it's just, I think that's what's going to happen based on the way the news is trending. Now it could trend back the other way. If we get like these like 3K guards out of nowhere, like then it's like, oh, okay, well, what do you think of these values versus the other values? And it could get interesting. But right now, that's where we're trending. And you just don't want to ignore it. And then I'll mention Ja Morant on FanDuel. JSU hates this segment, but the segment where Ja is too cheap on FanDuel at 7.3. And then on DK, Ja is 8K. I thought he'd be maybe 8.5 like he has been, which has been egregious. But he is 8K right now. So it's not the worst idea, but I don't think you need to go him. There's better stars and scrubs to go to.
You can see a little Ja Luka back and forth. I can see it.
I don't hate it. I'm more interested than you think, but I just, there's other stars I just prefer, and it might mess up my full construction to go to that 8K guy.
You know what the problem is, Mangone? The problem is that Memphis and Dallas, like you said, it doesn't excite you. So you might just take the value and then run with the value, right? Like from this game, you might just play the value guys and then just say, all right, I'm going to find other places to spend. But I definitely think they're in play. DK, FanDuel, I don't think it matters that much. I think they're in play. Yeah,
and one last thing to talk about, JC, when we're talking just like spending up, I'm curious to see, and I'm just trying to think it all through. When we get all this different value, I like to look at what position is struggling in the value department and then maybe just go get my raw points and like, listen, I'm not saying I want to play Zach LaVine, but like in tournaments, if you want to go grab Zach LaVine at 9.5 at an unknown spot where shooting guard might not be as great value-wise, not the worst idea. Now, I don't know who is shooting guard eligible in these spots, but where you're seeing the lack of values, that's the spots to maybe look at the mid-tier and then look at that spending all the way up. Like a D'Angelo Russell could be a really interesting play. That's not popping and he's 7'9", but could be a really good tournament differentiator. And that's the stuff I think I'd be looking at throughout this slate.
Yeah, like our boy DeLon Wright is shooting guard eligible. Our boy Campazzo, who we talked about earlier, is shooting guard eligible. There are shooting guards, but I like Zach LaVine. I like that game.
You don't have you don't have a lot of 3K shooting guards though and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not seeing a lot of those yet.
You got one. His name's Jalen Harris, and he's only shooting guard eligible.
Oh yes. Sorry, you're right. That guy.
Quick random question for you since we're talking about Memphis. Who would you rather build around, JSU, Ja Morant or Michael Porter Jr.?
What do you like if I could only
Like you're a
start
GM
a
and you
team?
get to start a new team. Yeah. And he's going to be your best player. Ja Morant or
Man,
MPJ? It's a good one, huh?
So what's funny is I'm a big John Morant and MPJ. I really
Yeah,
like
that's why I
both
thought it
those
was
guys.
great. Yeah.
I think I would pick MPJ though. I think he's just so more. I think he has the talent to be like a top 5 scorer in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of talent I think we're dealing with.
How about
But
you,
I don't want to
Travis?
call him like KD or anything.
Yeah.
But like I think he has that type of talent where he could be that type of scorer.
Yeah, I do like what JSU is saying about MPJ. I think it's he had that build, right, where like you're hoping, and if you can look into that unicorn type player, like it's a gold mine. But you know what Ja has? Ja, and I say this a lot with some basketball players, like Ja could be the guy that John Wall's always wanted to be, the dude that can just drive to the hoop and hit the 3 ball, right? Like, and just do it all.
I love it. That's
Ja
great.
could be that guy. Like, that's definitely possible that he could be what John Wall could have been or wanted to be, and just be an absolute stud. Like, it's like Russell Westbrook. You know, there's never a three-point guy that could drive. We don't see a lot of guys that can just go get a bucket at the hoop and shoot that 3 ball like lights out. And Ja could be that one day. Like, he really could be that guy.
The one thing that's interesting about Ja is Ja has like freakish athletic ability, but his game is so like fine-tuned where like he has all these little moves where like that in and out move in the lane where he shoots the floater with like the offhand as he's fading. Like those shots are ridiculous. Like I don't think people understand how hard those shots actually are to do. And like doing that in and out move is nasty when you get in the paint like that and there are all these guys around you and you're still doing those type of moves and fading one way and shooting a floater with your offhand as you're fading the opposite way. Like that stuff's so hard to do. And he has like mastered it to a point where the move is literally unstoppable. Like you can't defend against it. Like there's nothing a center can do to stop the floater. Like it's impossible. And when he has that type of wiggle in the paint like that, makes it even harder. You don't know which way he's going to go.
All right. Yeah, I think that's fun. I don't know. I might go with Ja here, but I don't think you're wrong either way. I heard that question on a podcast. I thought it was fantastic. Had to ask you guys. So that was a fun game to talk about. Let's go about a game that I'm not interested at all. It's the Magic, who are 21-47, heading to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks, who are 43-25. Of course, coming off that really bad loss to the Spurs. I mentioned earlier how they do want that 2 seed, and that was a bad loss. That makes me think they bounce back tonight and cover this spread of 13. I think we'll get all hands on deck and a great effort, and I think they blow out the Magic here. Normally we stay away from these bigger games, but if I were to lay a double-digit spread tonight, this is my spot. I'm taking the Bucks minus 13. What do you think, JSU?
Yeah, I think it's the Bucks here, but again, this is a game where I'm probably not going to bet it. I don't have to bet every game.
Exactly.
Also, I saw the Dallas game come back on at 3, so I still like Dallas here at 3, honestly. But
I think Joe Val's a big loss there for them. We talk about all things he does. You know, rebounding shows up in the stat line, of course, but a lot of those box outs, a lot of the ways that he changes shots, a lot of his ability to set nice picks for Ja and get that offense started doesn't show up in the box score, but won't be there for them tonight. You know, we talked about that. With Dallas, and so we both like the Bucks. Travis, we can probably do this game pretty quickly. You want to just take the Bucks and we'll move on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about this game, so let's just do that.
Let's do it. Phoenix Suns are 48-20. They head to Golden State to take on the Warriors, and that was Hoop's pick yesterday. They made me sweat there. At the end of the game, it was one. I was my girlfriend's daughter's like, "What do you mean they're up by 3 with 5 seconds? You're going to win." I said, No. Up by 3 with 5 seconds to go, and you don't have the ball. You know, that's a recipe for disaster in the NBA. But they were able to pull it out, and now they have to play a back-to-back against the Phoenix Suns, who they've got a shot here at the number 1 seed. So we should be getting a great effort from them. Phoenix is now laying 4.5. They have taken a little bit of money. I like the Suns here. I think the Warriors gave it their all last night. Might be a little pooped out here tonight. I like Phoenix. What do you think, JSU?
I agree. I think this is a tough matchup for Golden State. I'm going to roll with Phoenix here at the 4.5. I just think they're overmatched in this matchup specifically. I know how good Steph has been playing and Draymond and those guys, but I think here it's going to be the Suns for me.
What do you think, Trav?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm probably not going against the Suns here in this spot. I will say Golden State's they're playing really well. I do worry the Suns are definitely dealing with some fatigue issues. It's apparent. It's been a long season for them. I do worry it could be something that hurts them here coming up in the postseason. I know West Coast Gem is in the chat. I hope they don't get the Lakers. I know West Coast was looking at the opportunity to get the Lakers versus the Suns against me. Like, West Coast, I'm not an idiot. I'm gonna I'm gonna sit here and actually think about it. Also, if the Lakers play the Suns, are the Lakers favorites in that? I assume they are, even though the Suns are that 2 seed, right? If it goes to that spread, what do you think the line is? Wouldn't the Lakers be favorites as a 7 seed?
It'd probably be really close to even. I think the books would put Phoenix between -150 and -175, but I don't think they would post that knowing the avalanche of Lakers money they would take. So I think they would kind of anticipate it and not put their true line up right off the bat, because I think they would expect the Lakers money and they wouldn't want the liability there with the plus money. So I think you get pretty close to even money, maybe a little bit value on Phoenix there as the bookmakers try to, just balance the books.
Yeah, definitely think that's really interesting. So I'm on the Sun side here. DFS wise, it's tough. So again, we talk about the studs you want to spend on, and Curry has been amazing. And he's, shooting the ball a ton, but this isn't the greatest matchup in the world. I just don't think you go to him. I think it's a decent Draymond spot. The problem is I don't know if it's the type of slate to roster him. I think it's just, maybe if you get a slate where there's a lot of mid-tier options, you're just peppering mid-tier teams and you fall on him, I don't hate it, but it's just, I don't see needing to go here for DFS. I think this is a pass for me in DFS for the most part.
All right. Yeah. What about you, JSU? Is this a stay away game?
Yeah. See, I'm on a little different. I don't like the spot for Draymond. I think the way the Suns play hurt the style of which Draymond wants to play in. So you're not going to get as much of that up and down. So I think that hurts Dre. And I'm probably going to stay away from the Golden State side. The Phoenix side, it's a good spot for DeAndre Ayton. Hasn't played that great, but it is a good spot against Golden State. But I'm not going to be looking to roster guys from this game. Yeah, he's in the 6K range.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe he'd be 6'2", right? I know he floats around. Sometimes you buy low on him.
I think he's 6'7", Mangone.
6'7". It's a little tougher to roster on this slate, I think.
All right, let's jump into this game. Is fascinating. This game is absolutely fascinating, and then we got a crap one to finish it up. But let's have some fun with this one. The New York Knicks, 38-30, head to Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. Well, I shouldn't say head. They've been there the last couple nights because they are coming off an upset win over the Clippers, and the Lakers could have the return of LeBron James tonight. Boy, is he rushing back because they are trying to avoid the play-in here, and to their credit, I think out of all these teams that are fighting here, the Blazers by far have the toughest schedule. I think the Lakers are still alive for that 6th seed and a potential Clippers-Lakers matchup in the first round. But, of course, to get there, they're going to have to win tonight against a team where, you talked about fatigue in the last game, Mangone. I think Tom Thibodeau doesn't even know the meaning of the word. I think that he thinks it's a foreign language. If you say, he thinks you're speaking French to him. So this team doesn't get tired. They're the New York Knicks. They're catching 5.5 in LA. The return of LeBron. JSU, how are we taking this game?
Yeah, it's tough because if we do get LeBron back, which it's trending that way, right? He was technically listed as out, but then the Woj report came out saying he's looking like he could play, practice or whatever. That's correct, right?
Yeah. He's questionable on the report today. I would expect to see him suit up. The question is he just testing it, and will he just jump out if it's no good?
We all know he does not want to play in the play-in situation. We all know that for a fact. He does not want to go there. If he plays, I think I lean the Lakers. Mm-hmm. If he were to be out, though, I think I'd lean the Knicks here plus the 5.5 that I'm seeing right now. So it's kind of dependent on LeBron. It looks like he plays, so I'm
I mean,
going
if
to
I
lean
were
the
to line
Lakers
it,
here.
I'd say it's like minus 800 that he plays. I don't think that we get this announcement and all this hype unless he's playing. So
Yeah, so I'll lean LeBron and the Lakers here.
what do you think, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, I lean LeBron and the Lakers, but I don't need to bet this game. Like, it's one I'm probably just going to stay away from. And I do want to talk more about LeBron. So is LeBron being a drama queen just because he loves doing this, right? He loves controlling the narrative of everything. Is he leaking all this stuff, or is he actually really hurt? What do we think?
Oh, he's really hurt for sure. Those high ankle sprains are not easy to get over. The guy's 37-year-old, even with growth hormone or whatever he's done to be so effective at this age, it's not going to speed up a sprained ankle. Like steroids and all that stuff will help you with a muscle tear or hamstrings, but
did
there's
you hear
no
what
way
he
to
said?
get around
He
a
said,
sprained
"I'm
ankle.
never going to be the same again. I'm never going to be the same."
Okay,
because
but yeah, okay.
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. But is it him?
as someone who likes to make overdramatic statements in my own personal life as well, we can safely say that's an overdramatic statement, right?
Yeah, I mean, Spread, I don't know if you tripped up the stairs carrying groceries and you're telling the girlfriend, I can't do anything today. I can't.
Yeah,
I tripped
that's
and
what I'm
stubbed my
doing.
toe.
How'd
I
you
need to
know?
watch basketball all day long.
I think you're on a cam in my house there.
Seriously though, I don't know. LeBron, we all know that he likes to be dramatic at times and whatever. Is he playing it up? Maybe. I don't know. All I'm going to say is I've watched him his entire career, and I've watched him multiple occasions where it looks like he gets injured and he's out for the entire game, and he goes in a timeout where you think he's completely just walking to the locker room. He's not even, and then he comes back out, and he just plays the rest of the game like nothing happened. This situation this season where he got injured, remember, he went back, he tried to play through it, and then after he tried to play through it, he was like, nope, can't do it, and he walked back to the locker room. So that tells me right there when it happened that it was an actual serious injury. I wouldn't be shocked if he's not fully recovered from it, because that told me right then and there that, okay, this is not normal LeBron, because normal LeBron, younger LeBron, took that ankle injury and just played right through it.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the effect of 37 years old.
I watched him against the Celtics at one of those big games against the Celtics a couple of years ago where I was there, and literally he rolled his ankle. It looked really bad. I think everyone in the arena thought he was out. Everyone was clapping and cheering that he was injured. It was that bad. Celtics fans.
Yeah.
I wasn't clapping. That's pretty bad. You shouldn't be clapping when a guy gets hurt. But either way, everyone thought he was done, and he went back to the huddle and then just came back out, and literally it was like nothing happened. Literally limped out and then walked back in and dominated the Celtics the rest of the game, may I add, and they won. So that is normal LeBron to me, and this is not the LeBron that we've seen. We saw him actually sit out games because of this. Try and do what he's done in the past, which is just play through it, and he can't do it.
No one's ever done this at age 37 like he has. So being the older gentleman on the panel, I watched Kareem towards the end. He was putting up the stats, but he wasn't near the same player, right? I watched Jordan at the end. He completely changed his game. He was just hitting turnarounds, post-ups. He barely went in the lane anymore those last couple of years on the Bulls. He was still effective because he was over 50% from the field, right? But he completely changed his game. LeBron's out there still playing like he's 23. His main way of scoring and creating is getting to the rack. He's still beating people off the dribble like it's nothing, and he's 37 years old. At some point, it's got to come to an end. So it could be this season here. Travis, the one other thing is our guy in the comments, West Coast Gem, is bringing up the Julius Randle revenge game. How did you not bring that up? You're like, love revenge.
I do appreciate that. The Julius Randle revenge game, he doesn't have revenge on anyone. The Lakers, though, it's the team that first decided to start this debacle path for him to go on. Or maybe Julius Randle came to a point where he is happy that teams are passing on him, and now he has found the right home in Tom Thibodeau. So maybe that's the case. But
seriously, on Julius Randle, though, he has been good. In my opinion, he's been good his entire career, and just teams have just kind of toss him aside. If anyone was vengeful and it made sense, it should be him because he's actually good to me and he's been good. It's not like in New York. I mean, yeah, he's gotten better for sure.
Right.
But I thought he was really good last year and the year before. Like I thought he was a really good player, and it just didn't work out with some of these teams. And then he finally lands on the Knicks. But man, it's got to be tough for him to with some of the teams that have just kind of let him go.
I just don't know what he is on an actual good team. That's one of my issues.
The Knicks are good. They're about to be the 4th seed. How are they not good?
Just heard Joey works about the jump through the chat.
I mean, spread. I mean, teams that can actually win the title, right? On teams that can win the title, kind of.
Don't you think they're a player or two away?
I mean, but they can't win the title this year, spread.
Okay, you're right. I'll give
but
you
so you add another player, right? Who? I'm trying to think of who you could add, right? To
Kyle
the
Lowry.
But and even if you add let's say you added Astaire, I just don't know. I think Julius Randle has been great this year, but I just wonder how he is next to another ball dominant star, right? I wonder what kind of player he looks like. That's my only concern with him. And maybe he could adapt really well to it. He probably could. I mean, he's proved doubters all throughout his career. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was able to adapt and be a lot better. But I've always had that question mark with him is what does he look like on a really good basketball team next to a Paul George, right? If you put Paul George there as the ball dominant guy, how would he do with him and how would he fit in? I don't know. Maybe he could fit that Chris Bosh kind of role with the Heat, where he's not the ball dominant guy, but he can still hit that knockdown shot in the corner and he can get his bucket down low and bully the mismatch. Maybe that is the kind of guy that he could be one day on a really good team.
You know who I would like to see go to the Knicks is Lonzo Ball.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think Lonzo Ball would fit well with a guy like Julius Randle because we've seen Lonzo Ball. He plays well with the ball in his hands, but he also has gotten a lot better shooting, and he plays well. Look at what the Pels have done with him. They've been playing him a lot off the ball when everyone's healthy, and he looks really good off the ball too. So I think Julius Randle could play with him because even if Lonzo had the ball in his hands at times, they could run the pick and roll together. And if Julius Randle got the ball, handled it, Lonzo could be on a wing and be okay. He could play both those situations and do a good job with it either way. I think he's a really good player. I don't know if that puts him in contention to win the title, but I do think it would be a good guy to fit alongside Julius Randle.
JC, do you know what three could work really well too? Zion, Lonzo Ball, and Julius Randle. It's there was a team out there that had all three at one point that could get them all. Zion down low, Randle on the outside, both guys handling the ball a little bit, surround some nice defenders on the
Zion's played on the outside handling the ball for the Pels.
That's what I mean. All three of those guys can handle the ball. You don't know where it's going, and
Could you imagine having to deal with Zion and Julius Randle on the boards, having to deal boxing those guys out, and that would be rough.
Could you imagine the Pelicans, welcoming the Knicks into town with Lonzo Ball, Zion, and Julius Randle coming to town? Oh, that would be brutal to watch.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Let's jump into the last game, just so we're not going all the way to lock. The OKC Thunder are 21-48. They're heading to Sacramento to take on the Kings. Well, I said heading. I think they're here as well because they just played recently. Kings are 30-38. They're coming off a blowout of OKC where they won by, looks like, 28 points on about the same spread. It's 10.5 here tonight. The difference, however, though, is I don't think we'll get a De'Aaron Fox tonight. Harrison Barnes is doubtful. My one that I always look for on the OKC side, Lou Dort, is questionable. I think these Thunder teams done here. I would lay it or don't play it. Obviously, Fox being out hurts. I'm going to wait to see where Barnes is before I get involved, and I would be fine with completely staying off this game. Why don't you guys just give a quick go over this game, and then we'll get to best bets. You want to start, JSU?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really trust either of these teams at 10.5 or 10, whatever it is. I guess my lean would be OKC, but again, I think this is a spot where, again, you don't have to bet all of these games, so you could just stay away from this game, and I'd be totally fine with it. But if I have to lean one side, I'll lean OKC.
All right, we're on opposite sides. Travis, tiebreaker.
Yeah. So I just, someone's in the chat said LeBron James was out, so I have not been paying attention. I'm trying to find that because I don't see it yet.
So on DraftKings, I know they have him listed as out.
Okay.
And it says, like, the last update was LeBron James listed as out with an ankle injury, but if you read on, it says James was listed out on the team's official injury report, but with that said, might change with Woj's ESPN report that came out earlier in the day. So it's not clear either way. So I don't know if he's going off that. I know on DraftKings that's what it says. But there was a report that came out. It was Woj, so you could check that out.
Yeah, I mean, I know Woj literally just tweeted about Gary Clark being signed by the Sixers, so I don't know. I was just looking for
big move.
Yeah,
that changes the odds.
I have a soft spot for Gary Clark from DFS. He's done me well. At 3K, he always gets it done.
Gary Clark has done you well.
Always gets it home, JSU. 3K gets me the 20 to 22 I need, and then gets me all the studs. He's never done me wrong. There's some of those guys that just whenever you happen to play them, JSU, it works out. Like Tyler Boyd is one of those. Whenever Tyler Boyd,
you know what? You know for a fact that JSU doesn't play him. Gary Clark, except for one time. I actually there is one time I played him. It was when he was wasn't he with Houston? Wasn't that his first go around?
Yes.
So it was, there was one day I played him. Gary
he had
Clark.
a great stretch there, and then he was great in the bubble. He was great in the bubble because he was a starter at 3K, and you know how in the playoffs starters.
I faded him like every single day in the bubble too.
I don't know if it worked out for you, but Gary Clark days worked out for me.
It worked out good for me.
All right, and when we go to Gary Clark talk, I think it's about time to wrap it up. So
yeah, I got nothing to say on the Kings side. The one thing I'll say, the Kings are a bit overpriced compared to other values on this slate. They're not as plug and plays as they were the other day, and I don't want to bet on this game, but if you bet on a side, you bet on the Kings because you cannot put your money on OKC. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up very well there, Travis. If you bet on this game, bet on the Kings because you can't bet OKC. I think that was a perfect summary. So, wow, guys, we did it, and the games haven't even locked yet. You're still going to have time to do your other shows. So that's an upset in the making right there. I haven't seen him in the chat, but we know he likes to watch because he'll send us messages even when he's not here with us live. So we call it the Gregory Russo segment. It is the best bets. Forget all that boring, trivial breakdown and analysis, right? Let's just get the plays, plug them in, and cash the winners. Travis, let's start with you. Best bet of the day, side total or prop?
All right, before we start, hit that like and subscribe, guys. We got 54 watch. We only have we might have more than 8 likes, actually. I thought we only had 8, but YouTube, the algorithm doesn't tell me when the updates happen. So hit that like, though. Subscribe to the channel. And also, you can subscribe, and you can also make it where you don't get the notifications. If you want the notifications, they'll pop up normally, but you can always turn the notifications off. But it's still nice to be subscribed because when you open up YouTube, it tells you if a new video has popped up. Like yesterday, JJ had a new free video, and I didn't even know about it, but I saw it. I opened up YouTube because I was going to watch something. I said, oh, perfect. There's JJ's video. Popped it open. Boom. So it pops up in your newsfeed. The algorithm tells you. So be sure to subscribe so you can see when our content is up. But I will give you my best bet. And there's a couple I like for sure. I like the Timberwolves a little bit. I like the Heat, and then there was the Suns. So I'm gonna lean with the. I'm gonna go with the Heat, man. I think the Heat get the job done here in this spot at -1.5. I'm going against my Celtics here. Hurts me to say it, but give me the Heat at -1.5. I don't know if that's JSU's. Maybe I stole it from him, but I think the Heat's a good one.
Damn you, Mangone. I mean, you're stealing my bets. This is what happens. So Mangone takes the best bet, which is the Heat, which is clearly the best bet on the board because it's Jimmy time. This is when it's Jimmy time. Mangone knows it too. I'm with him. I just want to double down on the Heat. I think they are the best bet. I'm going to take them as well. But just to give out another bet.
They want 2 JSU winners. That's why the people are here. They're here for the best world's winners. Come on.
So I mean, I like the over call in the. I hate being spread and taking the totals because I'm not spread. I'm not as good at the totals as spread. But this over in the Nets Bulls game, 232. I think it was 232.5. I think that's a really good bet too. I like the over here. The line is interesting to me. At 4.5 spread. What do you think of that line? Because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the Nets should be favored by another point or two. I feel like it's.
I think that the must-win factor for the Bulls is being factored in
a little more.
And from my experience, those when they put them in there, they don't matter. They don't matter.
Yeah.
How many? I mean, what's the old funny line? If you must win, you must not be that good, right? If you're in
Right.
that situation to begin with. So, yeah, I definitely think that's being factored in there. This is do or die for the Bulls, and you know, if I'm Brooklyn, I'm a lot less scared of the Heat than if I'm Milwaukee. If I'm Milwaukee,
Yeah.
I want to avoid playing the Heat in the first round at all costs. If I'm
That's right,
Brooklyn,
because
it's
you don't
kind of
want to.
annoying.
You don't want to
because they know
play
how to beat
winners.
us. They know
Yeah,
how to beat us.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
But
You know
but
it.
that team defense that Miami does is it's obviously going to be vulnerable to ISOs more than the style of ball that Milwaukee likes to play. So.
So okay, I like that over, and I'm going to get one more because I
I
do
love
think
it. Let's do it.
I think the Minnesota game. I think I'm taking Minnesota here -7.
Okay.
That is a big line, but I think that they're right now the way they're playing, they're just clearly better than the Pistons, who are literally resting half their team.
I love it. By the way, you could do, if you want, Spread, you haven't given yours yet, but if you want to parlay those two, like just the money line, the Timberwolves and the Heat, you get that I pulled it up just now, +149. So that's a little
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, for just the money line on that. The Timberwolves I feel good about, and like the Heat, that's a good one. +149. Spread, what's yours? Let's hear yours, and then maybe I can toss that one in as well. We'll have to see.
I mean, you guys are going to hate me for doing this, but I'm going to take the New York Knicks. I'm going to grab it.
I don't hate it.
It's all the way out to +6. We talked before. We don't know if LeBron's 100%. It wouldn't be surprising to me if he comes back, plays 10 minutes, checks himself out. Even if he is 100%, I don't expect him to go more than 25 minutes tonight. Now, how Vogel does that? Does he do it for the win? And does he space him out towards the end? Or does he do like he did with Davis in his first couple games back, just run him out there in the first half? But then in crunch time, Davis wasn't out there. I like the Knicks to keep it close. I'll take the +6 with the New York Knicks against the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind that. I could see taking that. Just because I lean the Lakers doesn't mean I thought it was pretty close between those two, so I don't mind the Knicks.
All right, so there we go. We can do a nice little parlay of that.
If you throw the +6 in, it's +136, +376. If you throw the money line in, if you want to get real frisky, it's +600. So there you go.
All right, so wait, what was the parlay here? It's the Knicks. Did you put the over in?
It's the Heat. It's the Heat money line. It's the Timberwolves money line, right? So you're avoiding the 7.5. But it's just the
I
money
like
line.
that.
And that was +150. But then when you toss yours in, it makes it +180. If you take the Knicks at +180, right? If you take them just money line to win, it'll be +600. If you do the 5.5, it's +376.
Yeah, I got +385 on Bookmaker right now. I'll do that one. It'd be our little best.
So money line, Heat, and Timberwolves, and then +5.5 or +6, whatever it is for the Knicks.
Yeah, I like to sometimes like do some money lines here and there for just like a couple teams and see if I can get it to even. And that's why I like that Timberwolves one with the Heat. I think that's good. I think the Timberwolves are a really good team to like throw in like a couple parlays here and there. Like you could do Timberwolves and Suns as one of them too as well. Like you can mix and match a bunch of different 2-teamers. I'm not really a 5-team parlay kind of guy, but like I don't mind mixing in 2-teamers here and there.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So that's a fun one. We're giving out the parlays. We're doing all types of things here. So, guys, I want to thank you guys for hanging out today. Quite the episode, an hour and a half. Appreciate you guys giving out all the good information and, of course, the winners. So for next week, I think that we'll be doing a show Tuesday for sure, and then maybe a Thursday show, and then we'll have a playoff one on either Friday or Saturday. Maybe if all the matchups are set, we'll do a Friday show. Just an extravaganza for that. So I'll be getting a hold of you guys and see when I can get you guys in there.
Get me on with Big T. I need to get some Big T bucks again. I mean, I got him last year in the playoffs. I got to find some bad series of his. He's gonna mess up here. I can feel it. He's ready to get the money back.
I'll reach out to him. The problem is the guy's so popular now. I mean, he's on DraftKings commercials. He caps like 17 sports at the same time. He's definitely, a busy guy, but we will reach out to the man himself, Big T. Maybe we'll figure out some incentive to get him on here. I know after Jamal Murray went down, he's less apt to talk about
all you gotta do to hook Big T in, just start crapping on the Nuggets. Just say, if you don't come on, I'm just going to shit on your Nuggets the entire time we're on the show. We're just going to make fun of them.
I'll see how that works out. That's hard for me because, I love Aaron Gordon. I'm a big MPJ guy.
Yeah, don't tell him that.
It's going to be a tough bluff.
Just,
It's going to be a tough bluff for me to pull off. We'll see if I can do it.
I'll tell him, Spread. I'm a good liar. I'll tell him. I'll be
All
like,
right,
screw you, Big T. We're gonna shit on your Nuggets the entire time. No, you're not. I'm coming on now. I'm coming
this is
on
what
right
you do. You rip on Big T and the Nuggets in the background. And then when the show starts up, he starts talking. You go, this is why I love doing these shows with Big T. We join together. We talk to each other. We help him get a good place. You just do all that, and he just gets on board. It'll be perfect.
Man.
That's how you do it.
See, you guys got all the tricks of the content producers. I'm still learning the tricks of the trade from you guys. So, hey, fantastic show, guys. That was a lot of fun. I mean, I was looking forward to it all night last night, all day this morning, and it definitely turned out. So, appreciate you guys jumping on. Before we get out of here, Travis, do you want to let everyone know what's going on over at Run Pure Sports for the rest of the week?
Yeah, so if you haven't signed up, use the code RPSHeater25 for 25% off, or I prefer this one, use Get Bets, use that code so you can get the bet side for for free for a month. And you obviously get to place money on the winners, and that helps build out your bankroll so that you get that for free. So use that code Get Bets. Then go over and subscribe to this YouTube page, subscribe to our Run Pure Sports one. Check out at 3:45 in almost an hour about, we got the MLB show with, I believe JSU is going to be on that, a couple others, DC, Big T, he'll be there as well doing MLB. Then we got NBA show that is at 5 o'clock. Then we got JSU with the final countdown show, breaking it down all up to lock. So I'll be on the 5 o'clock show with Holden and Title. It'll be good times. Content all week, all season for you guys.
The battle of the premier hosts there, you and Holden on the same show. Is it going to be tough for you to cede the hosting duties to Holden with the rivalry that's going on?
No, it'll be fun. I'll have to play off that a little bit for sure. I'll be thinking of ways to have some fun with that throughout the show.
JSU, who would you rather have host one of your shows, Mangone or Holden?
I've already answered this question. Mangone is the best host at RPS. Holden sucks.
And speaking of Holden,
Holden, take it.
You guys are going to be, if you want to, okay, so sometimes we watch physical gymnastics. If you want some mental gymnastics, tune into the final countdown tonight. I think there's going to be a barrage of news. I mean, I think this show could be outdated within 2 hours. That's how wild I expect the E3 report to be today. So thank you guys for joining us. This team will be back next week, and I will be back will this team be back tomorrow? Are both of you guys available tomorrow?
I believe I'm around. I think I should be good.
Yeah, I might be around too, so I'll let you know.
We'll have Travis for sure, maybe JSU, and we'll get you down. Fortunately, tomorrow's only like a 6-game card, so it should be a lot quicker. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Run Pure.